Well, it's nice and cold outside. I got some triple clamps, some forks. I got a fit kit for the timber sled coming for that front ski. And yeah, hopefully we can get that ski on the bike this week. So here is the old lower triple off the Aprilia. And here's my new setup for the KTM 450. So you can see this here is using a taper roller bearing, and the Aprilia is just using a regular round ball. This here is going to be a much heavier setup. It'll take a lot more abuse, but I'm going to stick with this here because the head in the Aprilia has bearing races for this setup here, and I don't feel like trying to make the bearing races fit. So I'll be moving these bearings here over to this, and yeah, we'll see how much work it is. If we have to remachine this section, we can. It won't be that difficult. I'm probably thinking this is a press fit, but if I don't have to get into that, I won't, because that's just work I don't want to do. So I got these bearings cleaned up. Good thing to see is NTN, for those that don't know, it's a good quality bearing, so it's good to see Aprilia using that. On the KTM we had a SKF, so also a really good bearing. So it's nice to see them putting quality bearings and stuff rather than cheap things. This is that bottom bearing race. I got it off the bottom shaft. I just gotta get it over the top one. Oh, that was easy. Interesting. Perfect. So now I got my bearing set, and I can start figuring out what I'm going to do with the KTM one. Alright, so I got this bearing race off of here after a bunch of whacking away. You can see I tore the cage off of the bearing. Then I ended up also shattering the race a little bit too, so needless to say, it was a bastard. And now I got to slide it off this race here. I'm just going to do is take the torch, heat it up. It's already a bit hot. Get it nice and hot. That way it expands and should go over that. Should fall over that race without having an interact fit. So as long as we get it good and hot, we should be able to take this here without burning myself. There we go. Alright, now we can give her a good clean, and we can start figuring out what we got a machine for. There she is. I got her a little cleaned up. This is the Aprilia version. Now if we put that on top and just align those just like that, you can see that the KTM one is just a little longer, or the center stem's a little longer. So because the bearing bores are larger than this shaft, we will be machining aluminum spacers that will also space the bearing for diameter, but also bring it up height wise, and same for this side here. So 2 pieces, nothing crazy, pretty simple, and then this will get bolted up, and yeah, it'll be the same height as a regular KTM one, and it should be good as new. I'm just going to go ahead and going to remove this this triple clamp, the top of the irregular Aprilia clamp. We have to drill out or try to figure out some funky a funky bolt on that ignition just to get it removed. So we'll clip these zip ties, and we'll see if we can't make some progress. All right, let's get rid of this ignition. Now we're going to keep the ignition, obviously. We'll make a new mount for it off of the new triple clamp, or the top clamp. But I see we have a regular Allen style bolt, but they've nicely done a safety thing here. So what they've done is they've taken a bolt, they've machined it down. They probably put a regular Allen key head on it, and as they tighten it, they've predetermined what the torque specs would be, and they've machined it as such. And then as they tighten it, it just snaps off. The torque's nicely set, and good luck getting that back out. So the easiest way for us to get that out is just to drill it for a quick second, and we can just take that one off the regular key. Alright, so when we drill something like this, hopefully they haven't hardened it, because if they harden it, that's going to give us a little bit more of a problem. We'll start with a small drill bit first, That way I can kind of steer it around if I have to. It's not a smooth finish, so. Well, it's definitely not hard, that's for sure, which is good. Alright, so now I've drilled about 3/4 inches deep. Take our bigger bit. Voila. There it is. So, relatively easy, which is nice. There we go. There's our ignition. Both holes look good, and we haven't damaged the housing whatsoever. That's the actual bolt we drilled, so you can see my initial small hole. So always start with a small drill bit. That way you can steer it exactly where you want to go, and then from there open it with a big drill bit to pop the head off. But typically always easiest to start with a nice little small drill bit. Okay, so I put that top bearing back in there. Actually, if I just take this off for a second, you can see it's right flush within a couple thou, and then also the bottom bearings in there, that's also pretty much flush. So we take our caliper and we measure that. We're getting what, 6.8, let's just say 6.88. So 6.88 plus, there's 63 thou, so we can get a piece of 16th thick stainless washer, 0.0625. All right, a day later, let's get these triple clamps on there. I got my tools measured. I did take out a bunch of steel inserts. This afternoon I was actually running a job on these, they're making some custom pulleys for a new prototype for the business. So, but I just whipped out those inserts for a second, popped in aluminum inserts. I got a boring bar that's important, a U-drill for putting a hole in, finish a rougher, and that'll get this down to where we need it. 280 per side means that once I push this side up, the bearing's going to run right where that old bearing was, and you can see 1/4 inch over, the bearing's going to run just a little bit higher on this here, but it's going to be nearly perfect. So about a 1/4 inch spacing on each side, plus the bushing to make the bearing fit nicely around it, and that should make it fit really nice. Alright, you ready to do this? So there, we got that one on there. Took a little bit of persuasion, but I'll tell you this much, it ain't ever coming off. So, looks pretty good. Now we'll get that bearing race on there. No, we shouldn't do that. I think since we pressed it, it might have swelled here a little bit. We need 30 millimeters. Alright, so I got myself into a little bit of a pickle. When I pushed this piece on, it is now a thou bigger than I want it to be because it's conformed to this piece here. So I did try to heat this up and I got it pretty warm. You don't want to get it any hotter than blue because then it's going to start losing its the hardness it's being sent with. So we're going to nicely put it over top like this, and I got myself a piece of tube, and we're going to very carefully go tappy tap and just see what happens. I'm okay if it's a good tight fit. The style of bearing means that if this grows a little bit, the bearing will conform. That's not a problem. So let's put some light pressure on it and see what happens. I put this in the lathe and I trued up both the top and the bottom. Got rid of the wood because the second I used wood, it wanted to sink away in the wood. You can kind of see the outline there a little bit. Put it on a piece of steel, so it's pushing on the bottom of the main stem pin. The actual triple clamp is just not quite touching the base there. And now that I got it trued up, you can kind of see I can just push it down as I will. Yeah, I just made the biggest rookie mistake of all time. See my bearing race? That is a lovely crack. And it isn't what you think it is, how I screwed up. The bearing was actually fitting over quite nicely. It was a tight fit, but it would have been fine. But what I forgot to think about was this tube is too small, and I started pushing against the lip of my bushing, and I actually started extruding that bushing, and it started growing that bushing, and it popped that bearing. I'll take this tube off for a second here, and you'll see exactly what I mean. See that lip mark in there? That's from the end of my push tube nicely pushing on the bushing. I did not check if the ID of the tube was the same size as the ID of my bearing race. So when I pushed down, it just basically extruded my lovely bushing, and there was so much pressure there, it just popped that race. So that's the problem with a press like this. You can't tell if it's 20 tons or 80 tons. That's my bushing I worked so hard on. Triple clamp looks good. So now I get to start over, and yeah. I made another one. This is a good one. The ID is pretty much a slip fit. It gets tight in the last 25%, and the OD is 4/10 large, which means that that bearing should go on. So let's give it a shot and see how it goes. Okay, you can see we got a little gap there. We just gotta take a block and hammer that down for a second. Alright, that looks pretty good. Nice and tight, no press, no heating up. Really happy with that. I'm done. Pretty much sick of this, but as you can see with the mess, we did get something figured out. It's on there, seals nice and tight, that's in place. I got 2 tops done. Both bores are the same, and the outside for the bearings are 3/10 of a thou different. So if once you pick up the new bearing, that should slip in, and this thing's going to get tossed in the bike, and then we are done with this. This took way too long, but part of life. What do you do? I'm going to go ahead and assemble this for a quick second. I did call the local dealership. I got a new bearing on order, but I'm going to at least put it together lightly just to mock it up. And so, we'll probably end up damaging the balls a little bit, but that's fine because we're going to get new ones anyways. So, we're just going to assemble it to see how everything fits. We're gonna put our triple clamps, our forks, the front ski on. That way we can mount the handlebar and do that kind of stuff and get that done today. I went ahead and made a new skid for it. I'm going to put it back in that sea can. A couple things here that I'm going to need to do on this side. So I have this rectifier, which normally is sitting on the plastic up over somewhere here. So I'm going to have to make a bracket. I'm going to put that right in there like this. And this is some sort of a module. Not sure what it's for, but I'm going to route that to the other side. Because I have space right there. This is a little too close for that manifold right there. So the rectifier should stay cool because I'm going to be right behind that rad, so all that cold air blowing through there is going to keep that cold. And then on this side here, I did take the coolant tank off, and we're going to just lathe a nice round coolant tank or an overflow tank or expansion tank that nicely fits inside this cavity here. And it should look pretty good. So I'm gonna go ahead and throw this into the warehouse. Maybe next week we'll start working on exhaust. We can kind of see how that works. And yeah, I'll see you guys next week.